Artist on lockdown. We are hanging and banging with two of the most legendary rock and roll drummers in history. I'm Ron Onesti from the Arcada Theater in St. Charles, right outside of Chicago. Just so excited with my guests at this edition of Artist on Lockdown. From Last in Line, Black Sabbath, Theo, and so many others, Vinny Appice, and from Vanilla Fudge, my buddy, and with so many other bands as well and projects, Carmine Appice. Carm, are you still on the road?
Yeah, I'm on the road. Not like Vinny sitting at home.
I've been sitting at home so long I grew a mustache.
Is that what that is? I thought you ate a squirrel.
No, that's Carmine ate a squirrel.
You believe this? He's still, after all these years, giving you crap about the facial hair, Carm.
I know, right?
Hey,
what can I do? We've done that many times. Sometimes I would go jam with Dio of Black Sabbath, and he would walk over to the side of the stage with that on and stand at the at the monitor place, and everybody would laugh.
Well, you're just like, Vinny.
Vinny's just. I always told Vinny if he didn't play drums.
Yeah.
You're just like Groucho Marx.
If you didn't play drums, you could be a comedian.
Yeah, if I take these off, I'd be like Groucho Marx.
Well, Groucho used to use, it wasn't a mustache. It was a piece of black tape when he was doing the TV show.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? I got to tell you, we did this a little while ago with Carmine, bringing Vinny on. I'm telling you, I can't believe there's just so much talent and music history on this call. You realize between the two of you, it's almost 100 years of great performances. You guys are.
I know, it's crazy.
Well, all I can say is God bless Mama Appice.
Yeah. It's a noisy family. We're a noisy family.
It's amazing because, I know this has been asked of you before, but there's some people out there since our last broadcast want to know a little bit more about it. We talked about it before, Carm, but, the name. There are a few that do want to know a little bit why the name different pronunciation thing, Appice and Appice. How did that happen?
Vinny, you should do it the way we do it on stage, and I'll back you up.
I don't know if it's going to work that well.
Okay. It'll work.
Well, the way it started was Carmine started playing drums. And that's the name, that's the whole story.
Okay. I feel enlightened now.
Take this off. Look at that. Oh,
you're so much younger.
Wow.
I know that Carm.
I'm gonna sell those.
But all right,
you should sell these.
I know, Carm. You got a couple years on Vinny, but Vinny, give it to me straight. Was he? I can see already the guys, you guys going back and forth. Was he a cool older brother? Did he take care of you?
No, not really. He was kind of a bum, and he went on the road. Then he'd forget everybody's birthdays and Christmas. He'd make my mother go get gifts for the family because he was too busy. And he was pretty bad as a brother.
Yeah, but if he made your mother do things, who took who to lessons here?
My mother took me to lessons. I don't know.
Yeah, see, because he was such a baby.
She took me on 2 buses in Brooklyn. We had to walk to the bus and get on the bus and then make a transfer and get on another bus and then walk, about 5 blocks to the drum instructor, Dick. Dick Bannett is his name, and that's the same guy Carmine went to. So when I went to him, he was really happy when I came because he said, now I got a real drummer to work with. Okay. This is great.
So you talk about, you said a musical family. It seems like your mom really supported you. Did you guys, was it like that, or did you guys kind of do it on your own?
They supported us, definitely. Yeah, they definitely supported us. It started with me and my cousin Joey had the drum set, and I bang on pots and pans, and they and they would like, you know, get the vibe, and they would buy me toy drum sets. And then I do like Vinny. I wreck them really fast.
What
And
do you
then
mean, like
finally,
Vinny?
when I was about 11, I guess I was 11ish, and we bought real drum sets for $55 at Sam Ash. It
Whoa.
was a snare drum, a bass drum, and a cymbal, you know. And that was it. That's what started me off.
But what do you mean, like Vinny used to wreck drums? What do you mean? Throw them at people? Italian style?
No, that's what Ronnie used to call them, the wrecking machine.
Yeah, Ronnie's
Banging
calling.
hard.
Well, you just hit them hard. They just started hitting them hard, and you know, the little drum sets that you learn on those for kids and stuff. We both broke those instantly. So then Carmine got the real drums. He left them in the house, so I had real drums, and I didn't break them very much. The cymbals would break, but not.
I gotcha.
But
You know,
my parents were really supportive, but yeah.
Yeah, very supportive. Once I got my Ludwig endorsement, I had Maple. They had my original Red Sparkle Vanilla Fudge kit that was on that Sullivan and all that, and I never knew what happened to those drums.
I think I know.
Was that the ones I recovered? I don't know. There was one Red Sparkle set. There was one Red Sparkle set in the house, and I thought, well, Carmine's got the maple finish. I love that. I was like 10, 11. Maybe if I take off the Red Sparkle, I could refinish it, or have my father help me refinish it, and it would look like Carmine's. So I went ahead and removed the Red Sparkle, and with it came old gaps of wood, and it just destroyed the drum.
I mean, he destroyed a classic historical drum set.
Oh my gosh.
That's what you get for leaving your drums with your kid brother.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously two brothers, legendary performers, playing the same instrument for so many years, part of so many rock and roll projects. It's so cool with all the bands that you guys have been with. And I'm lucky enough to have gotten to know you guys over the years and work with you both. But I got to tell you, with all the bands you both are with, my favorite is the Drum Wars project that you guys do. When you guys are both on stage, both behind drums, is it more, at that point, is it a competitive thing, do you feel? Are you trying to one-up each other? Or is it more something like you're trying to complement each other?
A little of both, probably. You know, I mean, no matter when you're on stage with another drummer, you know, he'll do something, and he does something, and you'll try and top it, or vice versa, you know. And you know, but there's also a tightness. Like Vinny will look at me, and we're playing a song together, and he'll look at me and start a fill, and look at me, like that video we just did. He'll point to me, but I just get the look, and I'll finish the fill that he starts, you know. And it's hard for two drummers to play together, because unless they have the same feel, the 2 and 4 backbeat is always going to be off.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time we're on. Most of the time.
We almost have like wireless between us while we're playing. We look at each other, and we know what we're both thinking, and it's an amazing thing, you know. We're right in sync, and it's pretty cool.
Well, that's where the brotherly thing comes in.
When we see it, when we come down from the hotel, we'll be wearing almost the same thing.
I'm telling you, you know, I could see it when I'm watching the show. You could see it, and that's part of the thing that I love the most about it. I mean, obviously, I know you've put the show together, you've rehearsed it, you've done the show before, of course, but still, there's that element of improvisation, somewhat. You know, that I see, like you look at him, he looks at you, and you guys are throwing it back at each other, and that to me is like the exciting part of that show.
Yeah, anything can happen. You know, we'll start, playing something that we didn't rehearse all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. Usually a little battle thing.
Like we'll end a song, and then you start playing like a 4-bar break, and then look at me, and I go, oh, and I'll take a 4-bar break, and we'll do that for couple of minutes, and then we'll end it. You know, somehow it works.
It's a great
Yeah.
show, man. It's a great show. Carm, let me ask you.
It's different.
It is.
It's a
You
very
can't see it.
different show. That show.
You can't see it anywhere. Let me ask you, Carm, from a technical perspective, is there another band that you would have liked to play with at some point?
Hello, Carmine.
You with us?
Yeah, I would have probably liked to play. Well, yeah. Am I losing here?
Can you hear me, Carm?
We can't hear him, but I know what he's saying. He said he would like to play with like Captain and Tennille.
Okay.
And the second one was like the Osmonds. He would love to have played with them. So
I thought he was going to back up Karen Carpenter, but that's just me.
Hello? Yeah.
no, I was scared of Karen Carpenter. She's a damn good drummer. She could sing her ass off.
That's freaking funny. All right. Well, let me throw it to you, Vinny, while we get our technical stuff straight up with Carm. So I like to ask this when I'm doing any of these interviews, and I asked your brother this before, but you've been doing this obviously a number of years, worked with so many people, other legends and icons just like yourself. Is there any one particular piece of memorabilia or a gift you got from some star, celebrity, hero that you really cherish?
What a great question, Ron. And I actually I could show it to you. It's on the wall right here. And I show everybody this. It's a John Bonham's drumstick that a girl gave me in the 80s in Spain.
Wow.
And she says, "You want this?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take it." Here it is here. It's on the wall. See it?
Oh, that's the Holy Grail.
See, it says John Bonham on it.
Yeah, man.
See it? That's it. And then I put it right next to a Bonzo bash. They gave me an award. So that's the most precious thing. You know?
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So again, let me ask you also, Vin. Again, with all the projects you guys do, I love having Last in Line by us at the Arcada. I mean, just love the show. You, Vivian, Phil, Andrew, just a great group of guys with so much talent. And you guys complement each other in so many ways. But, sometimes I also see kind of style differences. Was that kind of intentional, and do you play off of that a little bit? I mean, you obviously meld real well. But I do see some things that it seems like you build each other up with.
Yeah. I like to play, well, especially with Last in Line. I don't just play it safe. I like to go crazy with the stuff. And Viv loves it. You could see when I go do some crazy long fill, and you could look at Viv and he's smiling like, "Oh shit, now I have to come back on one," and Vinny went off somewhere. So we have a lot of fun playing together, and he's so solid, and Phil fits right in, and we got a great singer, Andrew. So
yeah, Andrew's great. And that's, again, just like what I mentioned.
Yeah.
Just like I mentioned before, just like what you guys do, there's always that little element of improvisation that's exciting and it's fun to watch.
Yeah. Every night's different, a little bit different. We, same songs, but we play them different. Yeah, I always do that anyway. I don't like to just play the same thing every night.
Sure.
Certain parts that you do, and then just go off, makes it exciting, put some energy in. I did that with Sabbath too. And they
Whoa, look at that. The trailer truck. Wow. The trailer went off the road, and a trailer truck went right off the road, a 90-degree angle into the woods down a hill.
So we got traffic and weather on the nines with
Yeah,
Carmine.
there we go. And the weather, we just went through a thunderstorm, and it's clear now.
Like Carmine.
Yeah, right, Carmine
All right.
Appice.
We got Carmine back. You guys, I want to hear a little bit about this project you guys worked on as brothers. Obviously, just a couple weeks ago was the 10th anniversary of the loss of our good, the legend, Ronnie James Dio. Carm, tell me a little bit about this project you guys both worked on.
Well, it was actually Vinny's idea. He called up about 3 weeks ago or so and said, we should do one of these lockdown videos, like the Partridge Family, and some people are
Oh,
calling it
It's
Hollywood
exactly like that.
Squares.
Brady Bunch.
Yeah, oh, Brady Bunch. Sorry. Anyway, so I said, what song should we do? He said, well, we should do Monsters and Heroes. That was the biggest song. And then he said, in a couple of weeks, it's Ronnie's 10th anniversary of his passing.
Hmm.
I said, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And let's hire somebody to actually get some radio interviews and all that stuff. So we did all that. And it went really great. And we brought a lot of attention, I think, to the 10th anniversary.
Yeah, check it out. It's called A Tribute to Ronnie James Dio. Appice, Tribute to Ronnie James Dio. Not Appice, Appice.
That's so freaking funny how you guys do that. I mean,
Yeah.
your Sinister album, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
the name of that album?
Sinister.
APPICE.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
APP.
That's how we're doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what
that's
to
how we
call
do
it.
that.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I always say it's only 3 letters more than ELP.
Well, it works, man. It's a great album, you guys. Again, I just love when you guys do stuff together. It's so rare in any form of music, really, outside of family acts. But it's just so rare. But again, the way you guys build off each other, and I gotta think that in some way over the years, this camaraderie or this competition or whatever you want to call it has kind of made you both better performers, I think.
Oh yeah, it does. I mean, when I play with Vinny and vice versa, we push each other.
Oh, yeah.
I can see it.
We push each other. So it definitely is a lot of fun.
We come off
the stage. Vinny is drenched, and I'm barely breaking a sweat.
And you're ready for a second show, huh, Carm?
Yeah. The only thing is we got to carry Carmine off stage. He can't even walk after the show.
It's okay. We've got the oxygen for him. We're good.
Yeah, you're good. As long as you got the oxygen. That reminds me of a show we did. I didn't do it, but where was that show, Vinny? South Colombia, Ecuador, somewhere?
La Paz, not
South
Colombia.
South America somewhere. So my doctor said, it's 15,000 feet up. You got high blood pressure and stuff. You shouldn't go do that. So he told me that as I was getting on the plane in Miami to go there. So I called the promoter up. I said, I'm not going. So I called Vinny. I said, I'm not going. You take care of it. So he went. Well, he was going anyway, but we were going to play together. But
that worked out.
I didn't go.
It was Bolivia.
Bolivia, yeah. 15,000 feet up. They had oxygen when you came off the stage.
You needed it.
No, they had oxygen tanks everywhere. They said they would, but they were all empty.
For the Americans.
That's funny.
They were all empty. I go, holy shit, there's no oxygen. It was brutal, man. You get off the plane and it's dry, and all of a sudden you start getting a headache, and it was like really intense. And then they have like Lipton tea bags. It comes in a box, and it's made from the cocoa leaves. And it's like they sell it in the store. And it's really good for the headache. You don't get high from it. Mm-hmm. You have tea, and it helps you with the headache because there's no oxygen or tanks. But brutal up there. Good thing Carmine didn't make it.
Yeah.
We don't say that. Hey, Carm, you went off technically before, and it's a question I personally actually really want to know. I want to ask it again, if you don't mind. From a technical perspective, is there a band that you would have liked to be a part of?
Well, there was a band I was part of, but I never got to play it anymore. It was the Jeff Beck group with Jeff Beck when he did the Blow by Blow record. Because I was on that record, and when we were with BBA, I used to turn Jeff Beck onto that kind of music.
Really?
And so when BBA broke up, I stayed in England for a couple of months. That's when I had my mother buying the presents for everybody. And I was doing the album with George Martin. I did like 6 tracks, and then we couldn't work a deal out. So I got blown off the album, and my songwriting got screwed, and I never did the tour. But I seen Jeff out on that tour, and I was kind of really pissed off because my manager said, well, you can't be a side man at Jeff Beck when you just came out of being equal bill with him. And meanwhile, the album sold 2 million copies, and it started his new career.
Wow.
And I was involved in it, and so I would have liked to go on to play that kind of music with Jeff because, I wrote a lot of it with him and played it with him before.
Oh, great story. People have come up to me, especially, I'll never forget this one time. Guy comes up to me and he says, you know what? You really remind me of Ronnie James Dio. I said, was it my vocal ability or my professionalism? He goes, no, he was 5'2" also. So
he wasn't 5'2". You're not 5'2". Are you 5'2"?
No, I'm not 5'2", but I'm not far from it either. But all kidding aside, though, I do hear, I never got a chance to meet him, of course, but I do hear just so many stories of what a great person he was and how much he really loved the fans.
Yeah, he absolutely adored his fans. When I first met him and started playing with Black Sabbath, we played we were playing arenas, and then we always hang out, Ronnie and I, with the crew or whoever, girls, whatever was backstage, and we'd have a little party. And then when we left, so it was late, we'd drive out of the arena with a limo, and it's cold out. It's the East Coast in the winter, and Ronnie says, "Stop the car. There's some fans on the other side of the gate." So they open the gate, and Ronnie gets out of the car and goes and signs everything for them and takes pictures. And I was like, wow, this is cool. So I joined them, but, they didn't know who I was back then. So, but that was amazing. He always took care of the fans.
That's another, reason why everything's so screwed up when it comes to people gone too soon, and I don't wish anything bad on anybody, but I've worked with a couple of people over my career as well, as far as rock and rollers. And, you got guys like Ronnie James Dio, who loves the fans, who appreciates, who realizes who put him where he was. And then I work with other guys that are just terrible to the fans.
Yeah.
Oh, don't talk about Carmine like that.
I hope you get the message. I don't know. No, but you guys are so generous. I mean, you guys are very generous with the fans, and guys like Ronnie James Dio. I mean, it's. I'll tell you, there's very few that are in the middle. There's either generous guys like you guys, or guys that frankly don't deserve the stardom.
Right. Yeah, and Ronnie remembered everybody's name, which was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, man.
Next year you'd see him on the tour, he'd remember your name, and he met you once. Or it's amazing.
Yeah, Fred. No, I'm sorry, Ron.
Yeah.
So,
Jeff, I don't remember names either. So.
Vin, let me just throw it back to you again here real quick. Black Sabbath, okay? I mean, really, obviously, one of the greatest, hugest international bands in rock and roll history. You become part of this band. What is going through your mind? Did you see it coming? And was there ever a moment when you sat down behind the drums and went, holy crap, I'm in Black Sabbath?
Yeah, I did that when we learned all the songs and I could relax a little bit. When I first joined, we only had four rehearsals, and half of the rehearsal was spent at the local pub. So not me, but the rest of them, and I had to learn the songs, with the keyboard player and the Walkman back then, Sony Walkman. So there have been times where I, sitting there playing the drums, and I go, this is great, fantastic. Ronnie's in front of me. I've probably seen Ronnie's ass more than anybody in the world. And then later on, I got to play with Sabbath with Ozzy. And I also sat there, I went, this is really cool. And there's the original band, it was cool. Both times was exceptionally amazing.
So beside the obvious differences that we as fans, picked up on, what would you, from being behind the skins, would you say is that the predominant differences between, the two Sabbaths?
Well, Ronnie was the ultimate singer, he sing his ass off and unbelievable, you know. And
And Ozzy
Ozzy was
wasn't.
a different character, you know. Ozzy's more of a showman and crazy on stage. You never know where he is. You got to watch out. He threw water on me the first 2 nights. You know, I'm playing. At the end of the song, he throws water and destroys the drums.
Well, you're lucky he didn't throw up on you.
Yeah, but I told Sharon the next morning in the hotel, and she put a stop to it immediately.
Yeah, well, we know who the boss is there.
Yeah,
Oh,
in that family.
Hey, Carm, you know, your success with Vanilla Fudge is obviously really timeless. I mean, having the Fudge in concert by us again at the Arcada is also just always a big highlight for us. And I'm so glad when you, Mark, and the guys come by. But it seems as each year goes by, you attract more and more and more fans. I mean, it's a true testament to the staying power of your music, of your rock and roll. What do you think it is besides your raw talent that keeps people coming back for more and the fan base keeps growing?
well, I think, you know, we've had a lot of movies, TV shows and movies like The Sopranos. And lately we've had a big resurgence because of that movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
We had the last 6 minutes of that movie, the climax of the movie, and it was a big showcase for us. Matter of fact, it got us a new record deal. Just from that.
Really?
Yeah, and we had just signed a record deal just before this virus hit. And
Yeah.
we thought like the label was done, but then they sent us a deposit. Said we're not done. We just want to show you that we're into this, and they sent us a bit of money that, you know, just as a deposit. So you know, I guess it has to do with that and the fact that we've been playing, and we do good shows, and everyone's still playing and singing great. Unfortunately, Tim's not in the band anymore. He is suffering from you know, some disease now, but
God bless him.
yeah, God bless him.
Yeah.
But you know, the rest of the 3 guys are there. Mark Stein's still singing his butt off.
Unbelievable.
Like Ronnie, you know, Ronnie's gone at what, 67, 68, and Mark Stein's 73, and he's still singing. He could sing everything Ronnie could sing, pretty much. There's certain guys that are just amazing singers. You know, him, Ronnie,
That's what I love
Mark Stein. You know, even like Rod Stewart doesn't sing like Rod Stewart used to sing. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's
it. I mean, you guys.
But he had throat cancer or thyroid cancer, so you can't really blame him.
Well, you know, we're dropping names like Crazy, Rod Stewart, Ozzy Osbourne, and you got Jeff Beck. I mean, you guys, your careers are just astounding, but you're still going as strong as you ever were. More projects, still recording, still obviously performing. You know, do you see any end in sight? You're looking to retire? You're going to keep it going?
I think the virus was the end in sight for everybody.
Everybody retired.
Yeah, we're all retired.
I was having airport withdrawals. I thought,
yeah, right.
Past 2 years, I would come home and have enough time to pack, and then go. Okay, I got to leave. I got 2 days. I'll wash the clothes, pack again, then I'm off. Or 3 days, and then go to Europe. And it was just so crazy. And now I'm like, don't I have to go somewhere?
Don't I have laundry to do?
Maybe I should just go to the airport and hang out. So
yeah, right.
But
yeah.
All these
suitcase is packed. I'm ready to go.
And I was bi-coastal, living in L.A., New York, and Connecticut. So anytime I used to buy something, I have to get 3 of them. 3 pairs of Skechers, three Affliction T-shirts. You know, otherwise I got to carry everything. You know, but yeah, you're right. You get used to running around, and you know, this whole thing has been weird. I did more Facebook posts in the last 2 months than I've done in the last 5 years.
Yep, well, that's important, man. That's why it's another thing that adds to your popularity. And you know, again, working with so many legends, so many icons, so many rockers, and you know, an incredible career. Then you got, you know, here you are, 16 years old. I love this story. You're 16 years old. You're just about to hit high school, and you're already hanging and banging with beyond legends and icons, right?
Yeah.
Who's
That's
the
me.
one guy that was hanging with you when you're 16 years old and you actually performed on stage with them?
So Carmine, the dog is chewing on that squeaky toy or something.
He is?
You don't hear it? Maybe that's Carmine's stomach.
No.
I think
Is the
he
dog
needs some of your
squeaking?
meatballs, Ron.
Is he
I
chewing on the
know.
dog?
Oh,
Yeah, he is, but I can't hear it because it's
We
going
sure
in the
can.
microphone. It's going in the microphone.
he was answering one of your questions for you.
No,
Well, there
the
you go.
Osmonds.
That's Moses. That's Moses.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put my hand over the mic so you can't hear it. How's that?
So, Vinny, tell us that story about you're 16 years old and you're playing on stage with a legend.
Well, it started off with our friend was my band, and our friend was Jimmy Iovine, and he was from Brooklyn, and he brought us into the Record Plant Studios and produced a bunch of demos for us. And then the owner of the record plant liked us, and he managed us, and he put us in a room upstairs at the Record Plant Studios for rehearsal. We had it all the time. It was really a cool setup. And one night, Jimmy called and says, "Can you guys come down and do hand claps?" So we go, "Yeah." So we go down to the studio on the first floor. We go in and we see John Lennon. We go, "Holy crap. Are you kidding?" And then we put the headphones on, and he starts talking to us. So you know how you heard John Lennon and famous people like that talking. Now they're talking. He's talking to us in the headphones. It was amazing. But we did hand claps on whatever gets you through the night. And then he probably said, "Who are those guys?" You got 9 of us. We had 4 horn players. So they said they were upstairs rehearsing every night. So John used to come up and watch us rehearse, and then he'd hang out, smoke a couple of joints with them. We played pool, and I would go to school the next day. I'd go to high school, and it was really weird being in high school and thinking of the night before working with John Lennon. So it was crazy. And then we did a live performance, 3 videos. And the live performance, I found out, was his last live performance as John Lennon. So it was in a magazine, a guitar magazine. I went, "Oh my God, the kid from Brooklyn played one of the Beatles' last shows, one of the Beatles." I mean, it was just mind-blowing. Then I used to go to high school. So it was like going into 2 different worlds, But I would be drumming on the desk while the teacher was teaching, and I'd be making noise drumming. And the teacher would finally stop and go, "Excuse us, wait, who's that drumming?" And she'd point to me and go, "Vincent, stop that drumming." And I would stand up and I would say, "Excuse me, did anyone else in this classroom play with one of the Beatles last night?" And I left. And I never went back.
Yeah, it's one way to make friends in high school. Hey,
Yeah.
Carm, so, again, legends and icons. Playing with Jeff Beck, playing with Rod Stewart, 2 completely different styles, obviously, of music. Did you find one more enjoyable than the other or more challenging than the other?
Well, believe it or not, it was more challenging to play with Rod Stewart because, I had to pull back, I had to lay back. As a pop artist where, Jeff Beck and the BB-8 thing was more of an album-oriented band, with a lot of jamming. Like Vinny said before, we never played the same thing twice. Am I in the picture here or what?
Kind of. You're good side.
Roller coaster.
I don't know what's going on here. Oh, there I am.
There you go.
So playing with Rod, it was challenging. As a matter of fact, he used to tell me, he'd come up to me and point to his teeth. I go, what does that mean? He goes, "You're the dentist, too many fillings."
Hey.
But
Did you give him a rim shot?
But the funny thing is, every album we did and every gig we did, we know there was going to be 20,000 people at the gig and sell 5 million minimum albums, So that was like a really different point
Mhm.
of view. Where before, we'd always sell hundreds of thousands of records, but not millions of records. So when you start playing some millions of records, it's pretty amazing. You know?
So you guys, I
Did
mean,
I lose you?
again, pardon me? So you guys, again, and we touched on this before a little bit, Carm, but you guys are playing so many shows, and we live, us fans live vicariously through your lives. Those backstage experiences, those after show experiences. Without getting too specific, we touched on a couple with Led Zeppelin with Carmine last show.
Oh yeah.
Vinny, how about you? I mean, is there any that really stand out as being just completely crazy, that whole rock and roller experience after show party kind of a thing?
No, no. After the show, we just went backstage, and there was food, so we'd say a little prayer, and then we'd eat our food.
All right, all right. Come on now there, Mr. Holy Roller. And then
Right.
after that 10 minutes, what happened?
Of course, there was on the first Holy Diver tour. The band were all young, upcoming band, and it was on fire, and we partied our ass off in the bus. We'd have sometimes the bus would stay at the venue till 4 or 5 in the morning, before we left because we're partying. You see the bus moving up and down and shaking side to side, kind of like Carmine. But we had some wild parties. And then we had a merchandising guy, this guy Ron, and he was like trying to be cool with the band. And we give everybody shirts, not realizing somebody's got to pay for these shirts. Hey, you want 2 shirts? What size? Hey, Ron, give them 2 shirts. We were throwing shirts around and having a good time. Those were the days.
I know, Carmine, you had, so many of them as well.
We didn't have shirts back then.
Yeah, you didn't have shirts.
Good point. Good point.
But we had, all the crazy stuff with different bands. I mean, one funny. Let's tell. Did I tell you last week about the John Lennon lasagna story that involves me and Vinny?
Oh, come on. I got to hear that. John Lennon lasagna? What are you guys
Yeah,
talking about?
it's not about backstage, but it's sort of backstage.
Still,
Yeah,
it's got 2 of my favorite things in it already.
yeah, I know. Me too.
Yeah, so when John used to come out upstairs and hang out with the band, with my band, yeah, he'd sit there and watch us play, and we'd talk, smoke a joint, whatever, play pool. I all told you that. And we were talking about Italian food, John and I. And I said, my mother makes the best Italian food. I mean, my grandmother's from Italy, and the whole thing, every Sunday we have lasagna or some form of pasta. I said, you know what? I'll have her make you a pan of lasagna, right? So I go home, I tell my mother, so she makes a pan of lasagna for John. So I bring it to the studio, and I see him. I go, this is for you, from my mother. She made it specially for you, and we want you to have it. So he was all happy. He was like, oh, thank you. Very cool. So he took it, and then I didn't hear from him for some time. I don't know if he was still in town or whatever, but Carmine takes from here.
Yeah. So then we played 5 nights at the Garden with Rod, and Sexy was #1 and all that stuff, and I had my parents come to the show. So John and I think it was May Pang he was with at the time came to the show, and then later they showed up at our gig, which was not the gig, the party, which was at Trax, or one of the fancy clubs in New York at the time. So my mother and father were there with me, and I said, hey, my mother says, that John Lennon over there? I said, yeah. Why? He says, well, because I made a plate of lasagna for him, and Vinny gave it to him. A pan of lasagna, and Vinny gave it to him. And I said, yeah. He said, I want to see if he liked it. I never heard if he liked it or not.
I never heard from him.
Yes, through Vinny, So I said, all right, let's go see him. So we went over and see him. So I had met John that day, at the gig. I said, hey, John, this is my mother, she said that Vinny, my brother, gave you lasagna that she made. And he said, oh, yeah, he did. So my mother said, I never heard if you liked it or not. And he said, oh, I loved it. It was delicious. So my mother says, gotta have my pan back.
That's a real story. I know that. That's how Italian moms are.
Yeah, that pan every week, every lasagna was made in that pan for years.
Yeah.
So
we never got it back.
We never got the pan back. We started an investigation into Yoko's apartment in New York City. No luck.
Yeah. Yeah, she ruined the lasagna too.
Right. Anyway.
You know, you guys, I tell you what, you know, being with you guys, it's just so special for me. You know, after I did the thing with you, Carmine, you know, I got so many calls, so many emails, like, wow, you know, how did this happen? So, no, it's just great to have you guys. Are you feeling, I mean, you're talking to your agents and managers, are you hearing that we're going to be on the road soon? I mean, what are they telling you?
Everyone's saying 2021.
Really?
I mean, that's what all the big agents are saying. Some of them, like our Vanilla Fudge agent said that the April gigs were going to July, and now they're saying October.
Yeah.
You know? But the manager says it's probably not going to happen in October either. And same with the Cactus shows that the Cactus shows that we're supposed to play at your place.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying everything's still up in the air, you know.
Yeah.
Not just with you, but all the shows around. So I'm looking at probably 2021. So I'm getting a day job.
There's going to be so many bands next year playing. It's going to be insane.
Well, I can tell you as a venue owner, me too. It's crazy. I mean, I'm already, I'm actually starting right now. We'll see. But end of September, I'm starting. And I'm like 6 nights a week now. It's crazy. You know, because everything from, you know, March all the way pushed forward. We're going to see what happens. I got a scenario for both of you guys, okay?
What's that?
So you guys are at a major rock and roll event, and Vinny, you're asked to introduce your brother, the main speaker. What would you say about him?
Well, I would just say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce you to an unbelievable drummer, unbelievable brother, and he's a brother from another mother. And inspiration to me, he got me started, and he not only inspired me, but he had to make it hard for me because he was so good.
Wow.
That I had to come up to that level. And now that I surpassed him, I'll introduce you to my brother Carmine Appice. And he says the name wrong.
All right, Carm, I got to throw it back. It's your turn. How do you top that? You got to introduce Vinny.
That's a good one. Well, all I can say is I saw the talent when he was 8 years old, sorry. And when he dragged me in the room and practiced all the time, so my mother would say, he drives me crazy like you did. And I knew that he would be really good. So by the time he was 13, he was pretty damn incredible. And, you know, and he really made it on his own. You know, I didn't, you know, matter of fact, when people started calling the house, my mother thought they were calling for me. And she couldn't believe that they were calling for Vinny. But he, you know, he really turned out to be a great drummer and you know, fast as hell, great combinations. The other thing, I wish you would sing more.
Yeah, you don't want to hear me sing. We had a great drum teacher who recently passed away from the coronavirus.
Really?
He was 85, 86 years old.
85, yeah.
85. His name was Dick Bennett. And he really taught us really well and guided us, you know, as to what the right direction was, you know. We did a lot of the teaching on just the pad. We went through all these classic drum books, and he showed us the way. We didn't hop on the drums very much. He had a nice old leady drum set.
Yeah, and not much at all.
kids today want to play music. They go, I'm practicing to these CDs and songs. And I said, that's good, but it doesn't really teach you anything.
No.
It'll teach you a little bit, but you're better off trying to work on a lick or something that if you practice, you've accomplished that lick, or study the drums with the books, because we studied.
That's why I wrote the book that I wrote, to make it easy for kids to actually study and play. By the end of that book, they'll be able to play with a band, but they would have learned how to read notes, and they would have learned how to do four-way coordination, which is what we need.
Fantastic book.
Yeah.
The right way.
Vinny
went through that book when he was a kid. But
I'm actually teaching somebody via Skype with that book. He's a young kid, and I'm teaching him. I'm taking him through it, even though it's difficult on Skype because it drops the sound. So you got to replace the notes in your head when it drops.
Oh, really? Why does it drop sound? Compression?
It's. I don't know what. I think there's a bad connection on his side that he doesn't have a good upstream connection.
Yeah, I notice when I do stuff on the Facebook, I have to talk first and play, because if I play first, it takes some minutes for the compressor to turn off.
The compressors everything. Yeah, the drums are hard to do live stuff with, but that's what happens, and I have to think of what he's playing and fill in the blanks. It's funny.
All right.
So I think this show we should dedicate to the memory of Dick Bennett. Let's salute him for what he did for you guys, right? We'll
yes.
And I gotta say thank you. I am in awe of you guys. I consider it such an honor, one of the highlights of my personal career, to be able to work with you guys and call you friends. I just love talking to you. Stories after stories. We could do a 5-hour segment, I think, and that should come up soon. Matter of fact, everybody out there's they got to like and share. You guys out there got to like and share this thing. Tell all your friends. We'll do it again next Friday night. We'll have special guests. We're going to keep it rocking and rolling. Thanks for all the great notes and the texts, and everybody's just chiming in on the recording here and on Facebook. We just love the support. Again, to you guys, Carmine Appice, Vinny Appice. I still don't get it, but I love it, and I love you guys, and I wish you the best of luck, safety, and healthy to you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys at the Arcata Theater.
Hey, Ron, we want to thank you, too, because we love playing. Your venue is one of the best in the country.
Yeah,
and
we both love it.
Keep rock and roll going all the time. You're still going with it, and you make us feel comfortable every time we play there.
And Vinny, he makes meatballs. He makes the best meatballs.
He makes the pasta, the whole thing, and we love playing. We love you, Ron, too. You're a total rocker.
Thank you, guys. Be safe. We'll see you on the road. Sooner than later, we'll be artists, not on lockdown.
Yeah, man. Great.
We'll see you next week, Friday.
Ciao.
Set me